Welcome to Mike's podcast. I'm David, your friendly guide to everything English.
And I'm Zen, here to make this learning journey a bit more fun and way less stressful.
Let me ask you a quick question, Zen. Have you ever tried doing something you thought was impossible?
Oh, absolutely. When I was a kid learning to ride a bike, it felt like an impossible task. Every wobble and fall made me think I'd never get it right. But then one day it just clicked.
That's a great example. Learning a new language is a lot like that. At first, it can feel overwhelming, but with the right mindset and consistent effort, it becomes second nature.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we'll talk about today. In this episode, we're diving into how you can become fluent in English in just 30 days.
That's right, no magic tricks, just focus, consistency, and immersing yourself in English every day. So, grab a cup of coffee, find a comfy spot, and let's explore some practical tips to make English fluency a reality for you.
Let's start with immersion. Think of it like diving into an English-speaking world every day. It's like jumping into a pool, but instead of swimming lessons, all you need is your phone and maybe a Netflix account.
Right. One easy trick is to change your phone's language to English. It sounds simple, but it forces you to think in English every time you check your phone. For example, while scrolling through Instagram, follow accounts that post content in English. You'd be surprised how much you can pick up, even from memes. You could even create 2 separate accounts, one for fun and one for learning.
Good tip. Watching your favorite shows in English can feel like fun while you learn. Studies show that hearing how people talk in real situations helps your brain process the language more naturally. In other words, the more you hear English in everyday conversations, the easier it becomes to use it yourself.
Here's a good piece of advice. Choose shows you actually enjoy, like a comedy, drama, or even a reality show. That way, learning doesn't feel like a chore. If it feels boring, you'll lose interest, and that's the last thing we want.
Now, we've talked about ways to improve your English, but let's zero in on one of the most important tips: speaking every day.
Yes, you can learn vocabulary, grammar, and watch videos. But without speaking, it's tough to truly communicate naturally. The best part is, you don't need a speaking partner right away.
Oh, so I don't need to find someone to practice with immediately?
Not at all. Honestly, I find it super helpful to talk to myself. You can start by speaking to your reflection in the mirror. It sounds weird, but it works. On a more serious note, recording yourself speaking is also a great way to check your pronunciation.
You could also find a language partner through apps like HelloTalk or Tandem. In the beginning, you can start by sending voice messages and texts and slowly build up your conversation skills.
You know, a study by YEF International shows that speaking just 15 minutes a day can really boost your fluency and confidence. So don't stress over it. Just speak, whether it's talking to yourself in the mirror or recording yourself. The key is consistency.
Plus, let's not forget how important vocabulary is in learning English. We need to focus on learning vocabulary actively, not just passively.
Can you explain that a bit more, Zen?
Sure. Passive learning is when you come across new words or hear them, but you don't use them yourself. It helps with understanding, but isn't enough on its own. Active learning, however, is when you use the words in real-life situations.
Exactly. Speaking them, writing them, or practicing them in conversations is the way to go. To make things easier, focus on the most common words and phrases you'll actually use every day.
For example, phrases like "Can you help me?" or "How much is this?" are super useful. Instead of just learning single words like happy, try learning phrases like feeling happy or this makes me happy. The more you use the words, the more they stick.
Let's take a break and learn some new phrases today. You can also create your own examples for each one to understand them better. Okay, the first phrase is, "It just clicked." This means something suddenly made sense after being confusing. For example, you might try to solve a problem for hours, and then it just clicks. It all becomes clear.
Next is become second nature. This means something you can do easily without thinking about it. For example, after months of practice, speaking English became second nature for me.
Here's another phrase, immerse oneself in. It means surrounding yourself with something to better understand it. For example, to improve quickly, immerse yourself in English by watching shows or reading articles in English.
How about narrate? It means describing your actions out loud while you're doing them. For example, I narrate my actions like saying, "I'm making breakfast," to practice speaking English.
And the last phrase for today is, play it back. It means to listen to a recording after you've made it. I often play back my recordings to check how well I'm pronouncing the words. Great job! Now let's wrap up with some questions to test how well you understand today's topic. Type your answers in the comments to discuss them with other listeners. Alright, Zen, here's the first one. How can using English in daily activities help with learning?
Well, using English daily helps connect the language to real-life situations, making it easier to remember. For example, narrating my actions or writing my shopping list in English keeps me practicing even during routine tasks.
Nice answer. Now, here's a question for you. How could watching shows with subtitles help you learn English?
Watching shows with subtitles helps you connect spoken words to their written form, making it easier to understand and learn new vocabulary. It's also a great way to pick up common phrases and slang.
Great job, Zen. Zen, now, let's talk about something fun, shadowing. Have you heard of it?
Of course, shadowing is when you listen to a short sentence and repeat it immediately, trying to mimic the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. It's like being an English-speaking parrot. But seriously, it's one of the most effective methods for improving fluency. A study from Tokyo University shows that shadowing is one of the best ways to improve pronunciation and fluency. You can try it with YouTube videos or TV shows. Just pick a short clip, pause, and repeat it. It's a fun and powerful way to practice. You can even watch with subtitles first, then try again without them. Pause and repeat any phrases you like. It's not just watching, it's actively practicing. Speaking of videos, they're great for practicing both listening and speaking. Shows like Friends or The Office are perfect for learning because they use simple, everyday language and add humor, making learning fun.
That's true. I'm guessing that's why you're so good at making jokes, huh?
Not really, but those recommendations are spot on. You can pause after each sentence, repeat it aloud, and really focus on pronunciation and tone. Combining listening and speaking practice like this not only helps you understand better, but also makes you more fluent in conversations. Now that we've gone through some effective practice tips, let's shift gears a bit. Learning a language can feel like climbing a mountain, right? But what if we broke that mountain down into smaller hills?
Exactly. Setting big goals can be tough, but breaking them down into smaller, achievable steps makes everything easier. For example, in the first 10 days, focus on building your vocabulary and mastering pronunciation.
That's right. The first 10 days are when you're most motivated, so don't lose that momentum. Learn a few new words each day and focus on getting the pronunciation just right. Then, in the next 10 days, shift your focus to speaking and listening every day.
By the time you reach the last 10 days of the month, you'll be aiming for full conversations. It's a gradual process, but trust me, it's totally worth it.
That feeling of achievement at the end of the month will be amazing.
Absolutely. And here's the key: don't aim for perfection. It's okay to make mistakes or take a moment to think. What matters is that you're communicating. No one will criticize you for trying.
Start small with simple exchanges, like ordering food or asking for directions. It doesn't need to be perfect, just keep practicing and make it a habit.
And remember, it's not just about learning the language, it's about connecting with people. A great way to do this is by joining language exchange meetups or online communities. Chatting with someone about their culture, hobbies, or favorite foods makes the experience even more meaningful.
Exactly. It's great to have a partner by your side for the journey. It makes everything more fun and enjoyable.
Well, Zen, I think we've covered some pretty great tips today.
Yes, we have. And remember, learning a new language isn't a race, it's an adventure. So laugh at your mistakes, celebrate your wins, and enjoy the journey.
That's right. Keep it chill, and we'll see you next time.